Happy Thursday, Facebook friends. Welcome back to Facebook. I'm Angie Garza, Director of Professional Learning and Educational Services at ROE 47, serving Lee, Ogle, and Whiteside counties. And if you're joining us back here on Facebook this fine Thursday, you'll know that it's time for another edition of Teacher Talk. Stacy, today we are going to be talking with some of our FFA, our state FFA officers who are going to kind of fill in all of those details about ag and FFA in preparation and in celebration of National FFA Week, which is happening the week of February 19th. So I was sharing earlier on the call that I am only knowledgeable about all things ag and FFA thanks to your support and your education and patience with me. So I really feel like this is something in your wheelhouse and something that I'm sure that you are super excited to be talking about this morning.
Here today, yes. In my work with the ROE, something that I have often talked about here is the Pathway Program. And one of those things that we are working on getting up and running in the ROE 47 area is our Ag Pathway endorsements. And if you remember, Angie, when we first started this conversation about Ag Pathway endorsements, I said right away, we can't talk about agricultural education without having a little lesson about the FFA organization. And as we mentioned before we pushed record on this, there's a whole bunch of acronyms that go with that. But I'm excited to talk a little ag ed today. Something that means a lot to me, something that I think is important to all students, and exciting to have 2 of the 5 major state FFA officers joining us today. So we have a lot to learn, Angie. Let's get this one going.
Stacy, this is one of those things that I have learned from you over the last several years, and that is this idea that there are indeed state officers who are our young people who are leading this work and conversations and growing excitement and education and knowledge across the state about FFA. And so we are pleased to have on Teacher Talk this morning Thad Bergschneider and Ben Bremer. Both of you are state officers, and there are a lot of responsibilities that go along with those offices. So as we kick off our time together this morning and learn all things FFA, wondering if the 2 of you might introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about your office and all of those responsibilities. I'm going to be willing to bet that many of our viewers don't know about all of the things that you were involved in this year as a part of being a state officer. So we'll start with you, Thad.
Absolutely. Thank you for that kind introduction, Angie. My name's Thad Bergschneider. I'm the state president for Illinois FFA this year, and I'm from Franklin, Illinois, so 35 minutes southwest of Springfield. Our duties as state officers take a range of events, a range of travel. So, for example, we take 6 weeks out of our fall to go visit over 350 chapters that we have in Illinois FFA and meet our 41,000 members. So meeting with members is one of the big things we do, and that can take conferences and events on as well. And then we have visits with industry friends and other events sprinkled throughout our year.
Yeah, so my name is Ben Bremer. I'm currently serving this year as the state FFA treasurer. I'm from Pearl City up in Stevenson County. And like Thad said, we are doing a diverse amount of different things and responsibilities this year. But in particularly, we work as a team of 5, and mostly everything we do and the activities we're doing across the state.
No, guys, I think that a lot of our viewers probably recognize the blue and gold jackets. They might see a bus pull in and some kids get out, and maybe some even have neighbor kids or friends of their children that are involved. But my guess is, like Angie said earlier, that a lot don't really know what all is encompassed when we see a kid wearing the blue and gold jacket. Can you guys tell us a little bit about your FFA story? One of my favorite things about this organization is it really is for any kid. Those are stereotypes that we're constantly breaking down, that you don't have to be a farm kid to wear the jacket. So tell us a little bit about your FFA story, maybe your supervised agriculture experience, and what led you to have this experience this year.
So I was from a farm in Franklin, Illinois, in Morgan County, but I actually didn't know I wanted to be a part of FFA. I was coming from a farm, so I felt like I should be the rah-rah FFA, this is for you. But I was a little bit in between. I had mixed feelings about it. but my advisor really pushed me to do creed speaking. So the FFA creed, 5 paragraphs, starts out with "I believe," and it talks about the future of agriculture and what FFA believes in. I competed in the public speaking event for the FFA creed. And suddenly I realized that I really like competing and I really like this organization. And suddenly those contests, those career development events led me to be more involved in FFA. And along that ride, I had an SAE, supervised agricultural experience, raising turkeys and working on my family's farm. So the SAEs and the contest led me to just be more involved in FFA. And then once I got to the point of being in offices and leadership, I realized how much I enjoyed being around other people, being around other FFA members, and it made me really want to continue doing that and spend my time doing that.
And for me, so Thad and I both share some similarities and differences. Both of us growing up on a family farm, up in Pearl City, we raise corn and soybeans, and we also raise Holstein heifers. So for me, I've been active in production agriculture my whole life, from growing up riding in a buddy seat as long ago as I can remember. So 3, 4, 5 years old, sitting in that buddy seat, now being able to work alongside and operate machinery and do the hands-on work and stuff on our family's farm. That's really what's pushed me, but also the generational aspect. For me, my dad and grandfather were both very active in FFA. And in the state of Illinois, we're divided up into 25 different sections, and there's section presidents that represent those different sections. And my dad was a section president nearly 30 years before I was this past year. And so seeing that and seeing the friendships that he made along the road of his journey and stuff really pushed me and encouraged me to set that goal for myself when I was younger, to become a section president and be active in FFA, because the people you're going to meet, you never know where that's going to take you. I mean, whether that's to the next contest, or it could be somebody all the way across the state, or it even could be somebody you're going to college with this coming year. For me, I wasn't the most active freshman, but I enjoyed raising cattle and doing the dairy judging. And so for me, that was kind of like my end, like seeing an organization that I could jump into that shared the same beliefs and had same similarities as people that had the same thing as me. And with that, like you said, Stacy, there earlier, coming from a farming background, like it's FFA is not that anymore. So we used to be the Future Farmers of America. And then in 1988, we changed to the National FFA organization, because at the end of the day, FFA is bigger than farming. It encompasses all of agriculture, whether it's the food we grow every day to the food you're eating for lunch and dinner every night, to the clothes that are on our bodies. So it's so much bigger than just farming anymore. And with that, some of my SAEs, they do relate back to the farm. Which are, I have a grain placement, which I worked on my family's corn and soybean operation, a dairy placement working on my family's dairy farm, and then also a specialty crop entrepreneurship book where I raised a half an acre of popcorn all by hand. And that project lasted a few years before my FFA journey even started.
Thad, I think you had actually kind of alluded to this when you gave your introduction. You talked about some numbers, membership. Ben then said, that the sections, or the state is broken into sections. One of the cool things about the FFA organization, it really does reach all students, and it is a national organization as well. Can you guys share a little bit about some more facts? I do think it's important to mention the biggest FFA chapter in the state of Illinois, I think might surprise people sometimes where that is located. Tell us a little bit about the events that students get to partake in. I know, Thad, you had said you got interested through a speech contest, whereas Ben was maybe a little bit more, his interest was piqued with livestock. So yet again, we continually say the same thing. It is really open for all students. So tell us a little bit more about that. Who are these kids? Where are these schools located? Give us some facts.
So as I said earlier, membership right now in Illinois FFA is over 41,000 members. We have over 350 programs. Specifically, we're floating around 385, and we're chartering 12 new chapters every year at this rate. So 12 new chapters every year are coming into Illinois FFA, and seeing that growth is amazing. And the biggest chapter that you talked about, Stacy, is our Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences. And I actually visited CHAS for short on chapter visits. And to see their program was nothing short of incredible. They have aquaponics, they have vertical gardens, they're working through ag science, and they also have livestock in Chicago and the south side of Chicago. And you're seeing these students learn about ag and then bring what they learn about ag to the people in their community. They actually had a Ward 19 Thanksgiving dinner I got to attend, where they raise the turkeys that then get butchered for the Thanksgiving dinner, and they make all the food for that Thanksgiving dinner. So you're watching these students in Chicago provide for the people in their community. And that's what ag does all across the state. And it doesn't matter if it's in Chicago or if it's in rural areas of central, southern, or northern Illinois, but ag and FFA connect us all. And that's been really cool to see this year.
So, Thad, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. I love the fact that you highlighted the membership in FFA, and, also highlighting, surprisingly, where that biggest chapter is in the Chicagoland area. Ag education, as I have discovered and I have learned over the years, is a vastly different experience than you would, even say thinking about a math classroom or an English language arts classroom at the high school level. Can you talk to us a little bit about what ag education looks like? And in particular, I've heard a lot about the 3-circle model, and how does that come into play when we're thinking about ag education from even early childhood beyond high
circles
school?
Provide students. And to break it down, those 3 circles are work-based learning, which encompasses supervised agricultural experiences, the classroom or the laboratory, and FFA. So FFA is what we do. Outside of the classroom, outside of the work you do, FFA is those events you can go to, those contests you can compete in, all those things you can do for fun, like state convention. So outside of FFA, though, you get into the actual classroom where you're learning with your ag teacher, you're in the laboratory, you're doing that standard school instruction that most of us know as teachers or just going through the school system. And then the last circle, work-based learning, is to me one of the most important, if not the most important, because that's where you see students really take that next step of being involved in ag ed and learning about ag ed and going to conferences, to then going out in the real world and creating a project for themselves and learning hands-on. So with the record book, students can create a project on entrepreneurship, on placement, anything where they can record what they do, the work they do, the money they make, and talk about the lessons they're learning in ag education and in AF and R. So through those 3 circles, we're really giving students a comprehensive education when it comes to ag. We're getting them into the real world, working with their hands. We're teaching them in a classroom, and we're also teaching them life skills and letting them have fun through FFA.
Ben, we mentioned earlier when we started that National FFA Week is coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about how how you guys will be celebrating National FFA Week, and maybe some of the more common events that happened? Again, this is one of those things that I think a lot of our community members and our parents probably hear about events, but don't really know maybe the reason or the why it's happening. So tell us what's going on during National FFA Week.
Yeah, so during National FFA Week, all 5 of us officers will be spread out across the entire state of Illinois, traveling basically every single day to different schools. And one of the most common things this coming week will be the assemblies. We go to big school assemblies highlighting FFA Week, hands-on activities to like an Ag Olympics. And then also a few other events that we have going on for a few of us are connecting with like grade school and middle school members and kind of showcasing like what FFA has to offer and those ag classes they can take when they get into junior high and high school, and really try to get them encouraged about it, because like we said earlier, basically making sure we're trying to, in a way, let them know the opportunities they have for them as they get older. And also one other thing we have going on this coming week is our District Golden Owl Surprise Awards. So within each district in the state, so there's 5 different districts, we'll be going to a school and surprising different ag teachers across the state that have filled out an application and have already won their section level, and now are competing, have won their section and now have won their district Golden Owl Award. And they'll be getting the surprise visit, and then we'll have an assembly for them as well.
I would like to add real quick, although it's not in conjunction with National FFA Week, but we'll be having Ben up to our area when we have our Cultivating Connections in Ag, that the ROE is co-sponsoring with several other organizations in our community. And so if you are a administrator or a teacher or a supporter of ag and you're interested in that, I'm sure that we can get you the information to get you registered for that. So all things ag, all things celebrating National FFA Week.
I add that I'm just so impressed with the two of you. You are very articulate, very well spoken. You speak of that tradition and that sense of pride. I'm sure your families are so proud of you and the work that you've been doing to promote ag education and FFA across the state this year. So that begs the question, what's next? So interested in hearing a little bit more about what the rest of your year looks like, what your futures look like. What are you called to do, especially as a result of serving as a state officer? So Thad, why don't we start with you?
Thank you. So the rest of the year, we're going to be focusing on state convention a lot after FFA week. So state convention this year is June 11th through 13th. So come to the BOS Center in Springfield if you want to watch. If you want to attend, it'll be a lot of fun. And then afterwards, after we retire, I'm planning on either going to Purdue or U of I. So I still have a decision coming up for me as to what college I want to go to, but I'm planning to study ag economics. And during that time, I really just want to stay involved in Illinois FFA. And if that's as a facilitator, if that's through alumni, whatever I can do to stay involved, I'm looking forward to. And in college, I just hope to look for my career in agriculture and economics and in finance.
So my plans after here this year are to attend the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign and pursue a bachelor's degree in the ACES program in agribusiness, markets, and management. And then after that, the plan is to either return home to my family's farm to continue farming or pursue a career in John Deere and be able to farm part-time as well. And also a few other events we have coming up here. So this week we're on business and industry visits going across the state, visiting different businesses that either support us or even looking towards to trying to get new sponsorships or just strengthen that relationship with those that we already have sponsorships that are supporting us through our Illinois Foundation FFA. And then like we've talked about here earlier, this coming week, we have National FFA Week, which is going to be a fun and exciting week. And then we also have banquets that will be in the March to April timeframe. And then after March 1st, we are strictly here in Springfield, like Thad said, preparing for that state convention coming up in June.
As we wrap up here this morning on Teacher Talk, Ben, this is lots of really wonderful information that you've shared, but there's so much more. I know it. I just know it. So if I am a parent, if I'm a student, if I'm a business, if I'm an educator and I'm out there and I want to know more about the Illinois Association FFA, what are my next steps? Who do I contact? Where do I get more information?
The best place to go for that, Angie, would be the IL Ag Ed website on it'd be ilaged.org. And there you can find all the information you would like for the Illinois Association FFA. And for more information regarding questions, one of us officers and also our directors, our executive secretary, Mindy Bunselmeyer, and then John Edgar, which is our assistant associate director.
This week, Thad Bergschneider and Ben Bremer, thank you so much for taking time out to be here this morning. I want to say it one more time, just very impressed with you gentlemen and your passion for agriculture, your passion for Illinois FFA. This takes a lot of time serving in this capacity to travel from the top of the state all the way down to the bottom. So thank you for not only being here this morning, but also thank you for all that you're doing to inspire that love and passion for agriculture that is so clearly coming from both of you. Your families, again, must be very proud, and we are proud of you and for you. So thanks again. This wraps up our edition of Teacher Talk. Once again, we want to extend a special thank you to Thad Bergschneider and Ben Bremer for their time here this morning on Teacher Talk. I want to thank my friend, colleague, and co-host, Ms. Stacey Degas, for helping to facilitate conversations this morning about the topic she is also very passionate about. February 19th, the week of February 19th is National FFA Week. So if you know anyone who is engaged with FFA, whether they be an educator or a student or a business or community member, say thank you for all that they do to contribute to FFA efforts across the state. As we wrap up this morning, we want to wish you a wonderful rest of your Thursday, an even better Friday, a beautiful spring weekend, and we will see you back here next Thursday for another edition of Teacher Talk.